Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining.
Got a big group joining us this evening, so I'm going to give it another 30 seconds or so to let everybody get in and get settled, and then we will get started. Thank you all so much for being here. That number is still very steadily climbing, so I'm going to go ahead and just give it another 10, 15 seconds. Definitely want to get started so that we have plenty of time to get to all the good information this evening. We're also recording this presentation, so if you do miss that first chunk, this will be available afterwards as well. I will go ahead and jump right in. My name is Andrea Flores, everyone. I am Assistant Director in the Office of Admissions here at Florida State. We are so excited to have our international programs team with us this evening to answer some questions and to talk through some of the study abroad opportunities that are available to you when you're a student here at Florida State. So definitely excited to hear from them. Before we jump into that, I'll kind of go through some housekeeping stuff for us this evening. We are in a webinar format, and so we unfortunately cannot see or hear you guys, but down towards the bottom of your screen, there is a little Q&A button. You can click on that button and you can type in any questions that you have throughout the presentation, throughout the evening. We will be answering those in the chat, so we'll be able to respond to some of those there. And then we'll also have time at the end for questions as well. So throw anything and everything in there. I know we had a lot of pre-submitted questions as well, so we'll address a lot of those things in the presentation and get all your questions answered this evening. Last but not least, before I turn it over to them, we have been getting lots and lots of questions about admissions decisions. I know everyone is very eager to hear what their decisions are. Those will be released actually a week from today. So February 15th, next Thursday, usually late afternoon, early evening is when we will make those live, and they are available on your application status checklist. So you can hop on there a week from today and see what your decision is. We'll be releasing all of the deferred early action decisions as well as the regular decisions as well. So lots and lots of decisions going out next week. Definitely keep an eye out for that. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our friends at International Programs for some great information. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. We are so excited that you all are here. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Dan Santiago. I'm the coordinator for first-year programs with FSU's International Programs. And I also did a first-year program. I did the first-year abroad program at the incoming first year in London, England in the fall of 2019. So it was a wonderful opportunity. So I love just talking about it, talking about first-year programs. And I'm happy to be joined by my colleagues, Dustin Lynch and Michelle O'Brien. They'll be helping with that Q&A feature, answering your questions. But then I'm also joined with two student ambassadors, Paige and Kuba. They've also studied abroad recently, so they'll be able to help share their experience and also answer any questions throughout this event. All the information we're going to cover here can be found on our social media. So if you go and follow us at FSUIP, and then also the hub of all of our information can be found on our website, international.fsu.edu. At the end of this presentation, our slides will start to have QR codes. So that's a great place to go, scan, and go to all of our resources. And FSU International Programs has a wide variety of programs. To kick off our information session, I'm going to start with a video that highlights study abroad and what that looks like here at Florida State University.
All right, so what is study abroad? Like the video says, it's an experience worth sharing. At FSU, this means taking courses for your FSU credit in a unique location while experience a culture unlike your own. So obviously, you're going to make lifelong friendships. You're going to learn skills in cross-cultural communication, and of course, you're going to use the city as your classroom. Study abroad also means small class sizes, opportunities to foster relationships with your professors, enhanced educational experiences, and of course, you're going to be able to travel and see the world. FSU is ranked top 5 in public universities for study abroad, and international programs here at FSU has been providing these experiences for over 65 years.
So we offer a wide variety of programs in different locations around the world, and these programs can range from 1 week to a full year abroad. These programs is where you can take your general education classes, which all students need to graduate, as well as courses related specifically to your majors and minors. If you are interested in gaining real world work experience, we do offer international internships as well. FSU owns and operates 4 main study center locations in which students can go abroad during the fall, spring, or summer. These locations have classroom spaces, libraries, computer labs, and FSU staff and faculty as well. They are the hub for your study abroad experience. And today we're going to show you all the different types of programs that you can participate in as a future Seminole. And we're going to go on a brief tour of each location. So first up is London, England.
Yes, so like I said, I study abroad in London, so of course I love talking about it. So the London Study Center is a historic 17th century building right in the center of London. So if you take a tube map or a train map over in London and you point right to the center, you'll be at Tottenham Court Road Station, which is only a few blocks away from FSU London. And it's also either a tube ride or even a 20-minute walk away from bucket list locations like the House of Parliament, the London Eye, and Big Ben, and only 2 blocks away from the British Museum. And from my experience there, my favorite thing was that we were always going out and interacting with the city at international programs. You know, we really love to use the city as a classroom when we are at these programs. So my favorite thing was I took my introduction to speech class over there, and my professor barely had us in the classroom. Really, all of our assignments, which were speeches, were out in the city. I did a speech on the tube. I did a speech in the National Gallery, and I even did one in a park where I was able to say my speech in front of tourists and also locals, and it was just such a great experience.
All right, so our second study center is in Florence, Italy. The Florence Study Center is housed in a 16th century Bagnesi Palace, which is actually a recently renovated Renaissance palace in the heart of the historical downtown area of the city. And so from art and history to pasta and gelato, Florence offers something for everyone. Excursions in Florence might include going to Venice and Rome, but our programs may also take you to places such as the Tuscan countryside to visit a family olive vineyard to learn about the process of making olive oil, in which you'll also share a meal with the owner and learn the Tuscan way of life.
Up next is our Panama City and Republic of Panama Study Center. FSU Panama provides all services of a small college and is located across the Panama Canal in the City of Knowledge. The campus serves students from Tallahassee as well as students from across Latin America. This immersive experience enables students to build community and practice cross-cultural communication. And like I said with London, immersing students into the culture, into the city, Panama does the same thing, and especially within classes. So you may, for a biology course, students have gone fishing to catch what they'll dissect in class. You know, in math courses, students have gone and measured slopes of dormant volcanoes, and excursions that are not academic, but just cultural excursions may include zip lining, kayaking, and hiking, and many more excursions that utilize the local rainforest that FSU Panama has to offer.
The fourth and final study center is FSU Valencia, which is located just behind the landmark Serrano Towers in the historic district. It is also just a quick, short trip away from the beach and the City of Arts and Sciences. You're going to be able to learn the flamenco, try delicious paella, and enjoy the overall Spanish pace of life. I actually studied abroad in Valencia, so I'm going to tell you real quickly one of my favorite excursions, which was the trip to Jaca, which is a really small mountain town in northern Spain. It was really great to experience nature in a way we usually don't and get away from the hustle and bustle of Valencia. So we were able to go kayaking and whitewater rafting and hiking and do a lot of fun outdoor nature activities.
So, in addition to our study abroad centers, we offer programs in other locations around the globe. These programs allow students to dive deeper into their major or minor curriculum with excursions unique to the location and area of study. With opportunities to take classes at local universities, be immersed in a language, or experience global industries, we offer a wide variety of options for students. These programs are still led by expert FSU faculty, and although these programs run mostly over the summer, we do have a few during spring break. But no matter the location, summer programs do help fulfill the summer residency requirements FSU students do have. All summer programs are available to students who have completed at least 15 college credits, and these program options can vary from year to year. So make sure you check out our website to see which programs are going to be run in the future.
So we typically offer international internships in our 4 main study abroad centers we just went over. These internships will also give you a real work experience. You won't be having to fetch coffees or make photocopies of anything. We've had students intern with the House of Parliament in London, serve on film boards in Valencia, and work with NGOs in Panama and so many other places. So if you are interested in doing an international internship, you can email us at ip-intern@fsu.edu, and our team will work with you to find the best position that aligns with your career goals.
And I want to share some information about 2 incredible programs FSU offers that are designed specifically for incoming first-year students. On these programs, you can start your college experience in another culture, learning from world-class faculty, taking FSU classes, exploring new countries, and making new friends. For adventurous students looking for a unique start to their FSU career, we offer the first semester abroad, also known as FSA. After choosing one of FSU's 4 study center locations, like we just went over, students will get a strong start toward their undergraduate degree by taking up to 17 FSU credits abroad, benefiting from small class sizes, day trips, class excursions within your city, and overnight excursions around the host country. It's an amazing way to jumpstart your experience as a Seminole and satisfy the university's experiential learning graduation requirement before returning to main campus for the spring semester. First semester abroad is available for all incoming first-year students, and it's also one of the choices available to students who might be offered FSU admission as part of the Seminole Pathways program. And if that sounds like an amazing opportunity, but doesn't seem quite long enough, we also have the first year abroad program. FSU is proud to be the #1 public university in the nation for the number of students who choose to participate in a long-term study abroad experience. Though this program could have you live in a host country for quite a while, it's for 2 consecutive semesters, and you have more time to explore your host country, grow your language skills, deepen your friendships with fellow FYA participants, and become a global citizen. Don't forget, we're talking about study abroad. And in terms of academics, you could earn up to 34 FSU credits over the course of your first year. This is slightly more than the typical first-year student on main campus does, giving some students the flexibility to graduate early, pick up another major or minor, or devote a semester to, like Cooper was talking about, an internship, whether it's internship here in Tallahassee or doing an internship abroad. Non-Florida residents who complete the FYA program with a 3.0 GPA or higher will receive an FYA tuition waiver, allowing you to pay in-state tuition for the remainder of your first undergraduate degree at FSU, making study abroad and attending FSU as a whole an amazing value. And if you're a Florida resident, you will save on the cost of studying abroad by receiving a $1,000 scholarship to be used towards the FYA program as long as you maintain the same 3.0 GPA and take at least 15 credits each semester abroad. All students accepted to FSU for the summer or fall term or as part of the Seminole Pathways program are eligible to study abroad for the first year abroad program. If you are unfamiliar with the Seminole Pathways program, it is an option that students can choose to be considered for their FSU admission decision if initially deferred. The admissions office will consider the selection along with your updated fall semester grades, test scores, and other factors before providing a final admission decision to deferred students. If selected for admissions through the Seminole Pathways program, students can choose from 4 pathways options. 2 of these pathways involve becoming an FSU student immediately and studying abroad for either your first fall semester or for your first fall and spring semester, which is the first year abroad program. Last year, over 300 first-year students chose to participate in one of these first-year programs at FSU Study Abroad Center.
So every day truly is an adventure when you're abroad. You're going to feel like a local living in FSU provided housing. And what this looks like, you're going to live in either flats or apartments or other styles of FSU housing. And it comes with full amenities like linens, common living spaces, and more. Classes are taught by FSU faculty who will absolutely use the city as your classroom, and that allows us to bring the curriculum to life. In addition to class time, each program will also provide cultural excursions, which is included in your program fee already. And all the excursions that we mentioned earlier, and sadly we don't have all the time in the world to talk about tonight, are coordinated and led by our overseas faculty and staff. So truly all you have to do is show up and enjoy. These excursions will include must-see locations, but also places tourists may not otherwise be able to visit or even consider.
All right, so as you're starting to hear, studying abroad is definitely more than the classes you will take and the places you will visit. It's about the lifelong friendships you're going to make along the way. If you don't know anyone when you step on the plane for the first time, you will definitely make connections along the way and build a community with a diverse group of friends. And those friends will follow you all the way back to Tallahassee and for the rest of your life. Your study abroad experience will also make you stand out from the crowd. It can be on a resume, in a job interview, or at a dinner party. You will always have an interesting story to tell.
While studying abroad is certainly an investment in your future, we believe the world is within your reach. Almost all forms of financial aid, including Florida Prepaid, Bright Futures, as well as FAFSA grants and loans, apply towards study abroad program fees. Once you started classes at FSU and established an FSU GPA, you can also apply for study abroad scholarships offered by international programs and other departments on campus. There are also many outside sources for scholarships too. Plus, don't forget, first-year abroad students who maintain a 3.0 FY GPA will earn either a $1,000 Florida resident scholarship toward the FYA program or an FYA tuition waiver to reduce out-of-state tuition rates to the in-state rates for the remainder of their first undergraduate degree at FSU. For more information about financial aid, please visit our Money Matters section on our website, which is international.fsu.edu, or contact our financial aid team at ip-financialaid@fsu.edu. And then planning ahead. Whether you think you'll study abroad during your first year or wait until later in your FSU career, planning ahead will give you plenty of time to consider factors like finances, location, and academics. Sometimes we hear the misconception that only certain majors can study abroad, when in reality, it's possible for nearly all FSU students to have the experience with the proper planning and timing. Students typically have the most academic flexibility during their first year, which makes it an excellent time to explore your interests abroad while fulfilling major prerequisites and graduation requirements that all first-year students must complete before they advance into their upper division courses of their major and face stricter academic mapping requirements. We even have an academic advisory team available to advise on which FSU Study Abroad Center or faculty-led program might be right fit for you and your major and personal interests. We accept students to all of our study abroad programs on a rolling, space available basis, and we've made the online application process as simple as possible through our website, again, international.fsu.edu, which is also where you can review the details of all the programs we plan to offer through the spring 2025 semester. Applications for the first year and first semester abroad programs are open and are open for you. So after you receive a decision, if you're a fall or summer or a Seminole Pathways program applicant, you can go ahead and apply directly on our website in the first year or first semester tab. Now, remember again, you must be admitted as a summer student or a fall term student or through the Seminole Pathways program. If you plan to wait until later in your FSU career to take advantage of the study abroad opportunities FSU offers, be sure to plan ahead with your academic advisor and stay connected with international programs once you get settled in Tallahassee. And I know we've covered a lot of information today about study abroad and the different opportunities offered by FSU, but all of this information and much more is available again on our website. I'll say it one more time, international.fsu.edu. For more specific information about FSU study abroad programs designed specifically for incoming first-year students, you can even find videos and FAQs of the first-year programs page, and contact of a first-year programs team. And you can also contact us, like you see on the screen, at ip-firstyear@fsu.edu. Last but not least, don't forget that you'll need a passport to study abroad. One of our biggest tips for eliminating some stress from study abroad experience is to make sure you have a passport with lots of validity as early as possible. If you don't already have a passport, we encourage you to apply for one as soon as possible, as there have been record waiting times for passport applications in recent years. If you already have a passport, we encourage you to find it and check the expiration date in case your passport expires within the next 1 to 2 years, in which that case you may need to go ahead and renew it. If you ever have any questions about passports or the application process, you can call, email, or visit the full service passport office located at FSU International Programs Office inside of Doak Campbell Stadium.
So as you wait for your FSU decision, you can also connect with us on social media. If you scan the QR code on this slide, it will take you to our social media and different links. You can find us at FSU IP. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube. On our Instagram, you can see photos of IP students all over the world and some great throwbacks as well throughout our 65 years, as well as program and location details in our story highlights. We also have a blog, which is knowlesabroad.international.fsu.edu. And there you can find stories submitted by students about their experience abroad, different tips and recommendations, packing ideas, food and activity tips, and more. You can also check out our podcast and listen to that, which is really cool, which is Knowles Abroad. And like we mentioned before, study abroad really is an experience worth sharing. So before I'm done spieling my end, I just want to share with you all real quick why I studied abroad. So personally, I'm from Maryland. I'm an out-of-state student. And when I was touring different schools, Florida State was big for a business school for me. And on my formal tour, we had a couple pull my family aside, and they said FSU will give you the best experience in your entire life if you go abroad. And for me, I read into their first year abroad program. I thought it was too good to be true when they told me about that in-state tuition waiver. And for me, it allowed me to go abroad and see the world my freshman year, come back, have such a great experience, and sad to say I'm about to graduate. But I'll never forget it because I can also attend FSU debt-free. So it makes a big difference, especially for out-of-state people.
Thank you, Paige, and thank you everybody for joining us. And like I said, all this information, it can be found on our website, international.fsu.edu, or you can follow us on our social media at FSU IP, like Paige said. But we're going to transition to a time of Q&A. But as you start to send in questions, I want to highlight the QR code at the top of the screen. So if you want to scan that, that'll take you over to the many resources that we have to offer. And then also, you guys sent amazing questions when you registered for this virtual session. So some of the questions that came in, I wanted to highlight on this slide. So first off, most programs are open to all majors and levels of study. So like I said, planning ahead is very important, and all of our study centers are open to most majors. So if you do have any questions, whether your major works, you could go ahead and already check out the courses that we are going to offer for fall 2024, or you can again email us at ip-firstyear@fsu.edu if you have any questions. Fall, spring break, and summer options available along with first-year programs. So yes, we have a lot of programs for a lot of different time periods, as long as the 1 year for the first year abroad program, or 1 semester, whether it's first semester abroad, or you're just doing a 1 semester study abroad program that we call broad curriculum, or a spring break, or as short as a 4-week summer program. We have a lot of variety when it comes to our programs. And program fees vary by location and length. So you could go onto our website, go to the program page. It has a lot of great information, including the program fees for that location, and also tell you the different lengths of time and the dates we have on our website. And then a question we get a lot are whether students need to know the language of the country they're going to before they go. You do not. Now, it is highly encouraged that while you're there, you're interacting with the language, while either interacting with our staff, our faculty, or the locals in your area where the study center is at. But all courses are taught in English, aside from language courses, those can be taught in the language that you're taking the course in. But essentially, our faculty, staff, professors, they'll all speak with you in English, but you may learn that even if you're not taking a language course, you'll be interacting with the language and probably come back with a little bit of that language from your host country. So just wanted to highlight those. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and see what different questions we have. So what I can see here, which international locations can you be 17-year-old to attend? So actually, all but our FSU Florence location is a location where you have to be at least 18 or older to attend. Our Florence locations, just due to laws and immigration laws, you cannot be under the age of 18 when you're studying abroad over there. But Valencia, London, Panama, you can be. So if you are under the age of 18, those might be the 3 locations that you consider to study abroad. Another question I see, do students choose a specific country to study, or it will depend on different majors? So like I said, for the most part, all of our programs are open to all majors. Now, I'd like to highlight that for if somebody is a STEM major, our FSU Florence location may not be the best location just due to the courses that you need to take from your through your academic map. Those courses may not be offered at our FSU Florence location, but they most certainly probably will be offered in our FSU Valencia, FSU London, and FSU Panama location. I'll ask this question to Paige or Kuba. So you guys decide who wants to answer this one, but how is the transition from FYA to the Tallahassee campus like, or Kuba in your case, FSA to the Tallahassee campus life? So if you guys want to both give your different answers and experiences.
Yeah. So I'll go first, and then Kuba, you can just follow me. So a little bit of background knowledge for me specifically. I was an FYA, so a first year abroad. I studied abroad during the spring and summer of 2021. So my experience was a little bit different, especially when transitioning back to Tallahassee. For me, with my transition, what was important for me was staying in very close contact with all my friends that I studied abroad with. Throughout the semesters that I lived in Spain, I pretty much made over 250 friends, if you believe it or not. And I immediately got to know like a name to face. And so for me, I saw them all over campus. And so the way we would do it is like once a week, we would all meet up, not all 250 at once, but we would meet up, have lunch, have dinner, talk about what's working for us when we're transitioning versus like kind of what we want help with. I was also given a life coach when I came back from FSU who made sure I felt comfortable at FSU, how am I handling with classes, just because my experience with classes abroad is different than on campus. I was used to 30 students in one classroom, and I was able to use the city and be very hands-on. And then I showed up to a 400 student lecture where I sit and do nothing and listen to a teacher all day long. So it was a little bit different. But the biggest thing was maintaining close contact with all the friends that I made. It made my transition a lot more smooth. And then for me, I severely stayed involved. I'm a really big soccer fan. I'm really big into sports. So I attended a lot of FSU sport outings. That's how I got into a lot of people. And then I joined intramural sports here. So it helped let me make as many friends as possible and ease my transition. Kuba?
Yeah, so my experience was also a little bit different because I was a first semester abroad student in Valencia for the fall of 2022. I agree with everything that Paige said, that it's important to stay connected with all the other students you studied abroad with and keep that community alive and growing, but also to get involved on campus and join other organizations and clubs, such as student government or different sports clubs and stuff like that. That's the best way to kind of get to know people on campus and integrate with life in Tallahassee.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that, and just here at International Programs, we also are walking you through the process as the coordinator for first year programs. I'm one of the people walking you through the admissions process, through getting everything ready for you to go abroad, and then checking in and make sure everything's going right while you're abroad. But then, especially for that transition back, making sure that we're meeting with you, whether it's virtually before you come back with other partners here on main campus, when you come back, meeting with you, whether it's for like an orientation or a social type setting, and making sure that you're learning about, reverse culture shock, learning on how to get connected, giving you an environment to meet back up not only with the first year or first semester abroad students that you are abroad with, but also with the other first year and first semester abroad students that were at other locations, as well as making sure you're getting involved with the many events and resources that FSU as a campus has to offer, including our involvement fair, which highlights our 750 plus organizations and our student organizations and unions that we have, as well as making sure that you are interacting with FSU's welcome events during the first week of classes. Thanks, Paige. Thanks, Kuba. So another question I saw here, if FYA students opt to stay for the summer, it would fill the summer in Tallahassee obligation, and can they switch centers? So the first year abroad program is only for a fall and spring. It's no longer, it used to be for the summer, but it's not. What it is now is students who do want to study abroad for the summer, we do recommend to do it at a later time to take hold of our different programs that we have, our curriculum focused programs that we have that may be diving into your more upper division courses that you have. But then also just due to visa and immigration, it may be difficult to stay abroad and do courses there. So doing the summer residency requirement can be done at a different semester. So if you come back to main campus and then decide to go study abroad, whether that's for one of our summer programs for a 4-week, 8-week, 12-week, or maybe study abroad doing our curriculum focused ones, those are great opportunities in order to fulfill that summer residency requirement. And another question I see is in first year abroad, how many breaks are there and when can we fly back home? So some of the breaks are going to be similar. So you will get a winter break. So in between the fall and the spring semester. So a lot of students fly back home during that time, or also some families go and visit the students at their study abroad location. And students who are doing the first year abroad program will always have continued housing at their location. So if they decide to stay during the winter break, then they'll be able to stay at FSU housing during that time, as well as students get a fall break, as well as a spring break. And then typically while you're abroad at your study center location, students will not stay on track with US holidays. They will be on track with holidays that are occurring in their host country. So those are the different breaks that you'll get. And then in regards to coming back home, winter break, maybe a fall, spring break, and definitely when the program ends after the end of the spring semester. Another one I see here is, what is the application deadline for FY if admitted? So if you're admitted, whether it's for a fall or summer or through a Seminole Pathways program, there's not per se a deadline. What we say is get it in as soon as possible. As I said earlier in the presentation, we got to take 300 first-year students to study abroad, whether first semester and first year abroad. So if you are interested in this program and you do get admitted, we recommend applying as soon as possible. Our application's a 5 to 8 minute application. It's just essentially seeing where you want to go, asking a few questions about you, and then after that, the process of us to either send you a notice whether you've been admitted or whether we need more information from you takes between about 4 to 5 business days. So it's a pretty quick turnaround, but the highlight there is just making sure that you've been admitted for the fall or summer semester or through the Seminole Pathways program. Let's see, another question I see here. I was wondering if there are any programs to help those who study abroad connect with FSU communities once they are back in Tallahassee. Do people find it hard to meet people since they are coming in late in a way? I guess I'll push this to either Paige or Kuba in that question. Is there a way that you guys were able to get connected easily with different communities or different student groups when you guys came back, and what were those ways? And also, did you find it hard to meet people since you weren't there in your first year and actually coming in on your second year, or Kuba in your case, coming in on your second semester?
Yeah, so Sorry, Kuba. I'll go first again. I hope I don't steal your thunder. So the biggest way that I got involved with my organizations that I'm a part of, FSU hosts an event every Wednesday called Market Wednesday, and it's usually open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's where every organization gets a table and they put out marketing supplies, and they essentially market what their organization does, what their purpose is, typically what kind of people join. So quite literally, you walk down, I think it's called Legacy Walkway, which is one of our like big sidewalks on campus that you go through. And essentially you can just walk up to the table and say, hey, this group sounds interesting. What are you guys about? And you quite literally join anytime. So for example, I'm part of Campus Rec, so I do intramural, soccer, and then every once in a while basketball. I'm also part of the FSU consulting group just because that's a passion of mine. So I joined them, and then I'm part of a few other consulting organizations as well. And then also like women in business, for example. Kuba?
Yeah, so like you had just said, it's really important to get involved. If there's any position that you're interested in any club or organization, I really recommend applying for it because you never know if you're going to get it. And once you have that position, it's a great way to network and meet other people, and a lot of them can become your friends. So that's what I did with student government as well as Greek life, and that's how I got really involved with life in Tallahassee and on campus.
Awesome. Um, so this is a fun question. So somebody's asking, what do they need to bring when they're abroad? So what are some tips that you guys realized after studying abroad that you're happy you packed, that you wish you packed, things that you brought with you on your study abroad experience, and some tips for students who, if they do study abroad, how they should handle that?
Kuba, you can go first. I won't go first anymore.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things you have to pack, especially for all our longer programs. FSU does have a checklist for different things you can take when studying abroad. It's really important to look over that and make sure you have all those things, or at least most of them, so you know you're not missing anything when studying abroad. One thing I would really suggest is a universal plug adapter, not only just one for whatever host country you're in, but you never know where you may end up traveling to and what other plug you may need. So that's my one recommendation.
So for me, I went abroad for a year, so I packed a little bit more things than probably Kuba did. But funny enough, what I wish I didn't do was bring as many clothes, because if you like to shop and you know you're gonna do it, usually like clothing, retail items are cheaper in Europe, and you don't realize that. And so one thing after another, you end up buying like 40 outfits that you weren't expecting on spending money on. So I actually packed too many things, but one thing that I would totally recommend you doing is maybe packing one suitcase and then anticipating maybe filling another one if you like to shop and travel and buy souvenirs. So that's one thing I definitely recommend. And then also, if you think you're going to bring one outfit for a very specific occasion, I recommend you don't do that. Definitely bring outfits that you know that you can match, like earth tones, for example, with like plain blue jeans, like things that you can match really easily, so you don't have to bring as much. And then, of course, when you go shopping, you can bring more back.
So for this question, it's to the both of you again, but how was it interacting in your host country, and you both study abroad in Valencia, with not speaking Spanish and having to interact with the Spanish language? And then what would you say to students who are considering whether Valencia or Florence or Panama City, and how they should go about doing a study center that their main language is not English?
Yuba, you can go first again, buddy.
All right, so the language barrier is definitely not something that should hold you back. I actually think it's something that should interest you. If you're interested in learning a language, it's best to go to that country and best to get immersed in that actual place. So I'm actually a Spanish minor, and I wasn't a Spanish minor until I already left Valencia. I was just really immersed in the language, and I learned a lot. It's always great to try your best when speaking in a restaurant or when going shopping, but all the locals understand that you're not a native speaker for the most part, so they definitely help you out. And yeah, it's a great way to get involved with the culture and a great way to learn the language you want to know.
Yeah, so you could like they kind of could tell when they kind of looked at me and they were like, we know you're not a native Spanish speaker, and that's okay. So I found that actually really exciting because I made it a personal goal to be able to speak in at a conversational level with everybody to kind of shock them. So I took Spanish class in high school and middle school, but that's textbook Spanish. That's not necessarily Spain Spanish. So you kind of learn the lingo when you're there. So it's actually really exciting. Like Kuba said, it's something to really look forward to. It's great to have like a general level of knowledge going in. It doesn't have to be intermediate. It can be pretty elementary level. That's okay. And just knowing basic questions in your mind, like how do I get to so and so, or how are you, how much does this cost, just some basic questions always to have in your back pocket. But they work with you, and that's really great because they can see that you're trying to immerse yourself in their culture. You're not trying to force like the American culture onto them, so they actually really appreciate it. And so sometimes I would go to a very specific cafe almost every day. And so they would know me by name at some point. And so then they would want to practice English with me. So we would go back and forth of trying to speak Spanish with each other and then do English as well.
Amazing. And I'm seeing more questions in here about packing, and I know Kuba Page talked about packing already. So I'd also like to highlight that once you've been admitted to either first year, first semester, or any of our regular study abroad programs, we do go through an orientation with you, whether it is a specific first year orientation or whether it is an orientation for your study abroad program here at Florida State. And we'll go over these things, including packing and other things that you prepare to go onto your trip, as well as we provide a program packet. And that program packet will also have a lot of great information and tips on packet budgeting, and other great information about that. So don't worry, we'll guide you again. We'll guide you through the process. As we look here, are students allowed to explore the city on their own and study abroad, or is everything guided by FSU? And I think I can speak for all three of us that not everything is guided by FSU. So some of the highlights are that you're going on academic and culture excursions through the university, whether it is a day trip within your host city, or whether it's a weekend excursion somewhere in your host country, or it's an academic excursion to a museum or a monument, whatever it may be. But also students are encouraged to go and explore the city on their own, whether it's going to museums or going to monuments on their own, you know, going with groups of people to interact with local restaurants, or interact with local groups and organizations, to really be immersed in your study abroad location. As well as students have gone on weekends to do weekend trips as well. So classes are 4 days out of the 7-day week for first year, first semester abroad, and most of our study abroad broad curriculum program. So students have taken advantage of that Friday, Saturday, Sunday to not only enjoy their weekends for our FSU excursion or to study for midterms and finals, but also to do some self-traveling. So great question. Another question I see here, for students, do you think, for the students, for you guys, I guess, do you guys think you were able to quickly get involved with school spirit in your second year or second semester? And then they asked, how about rushing?
Well, I'll do school spirit because Kuba, you know more about rushing than I do. But it's interesting because something about FSU, you recognize really quickly, everybody wears their pride. It's very transparent how much everybody's an FSU fan. So immediately you actually join like the FSU Instagram, you join like FSU 2024 on Snapchat, Instagram as well. And everybody will start posting like, oh, like, let's all go to the basketball game. Let's go to the soccer game. Like, let's show that we care about our Noles. And so it's very easy to show your spirit here. I could wear green and gold every day and be super happy that I'm a Nole. And then everybody else does too. So I've seen people full on decked out in green and gold with a Florida State backpack and FSU AirPods. Like it's so easy to, you know, be that prideful. But Kuba, if you want to talk about kind of like what rushing looked like for you after you came back.
Yeah. So rushing after studying abroad, it can be either your first semester or your first year. It honestly doesn't affect it much because you're able to rush anytime you're an FSU student. Obviously, it is recommended to do it during your either freshman or sophomore year, but obviously you'd be coming back before your sophomore year, so it works out perfectly. And I would also say that studying abroad is definitely the first thing people talk about when they are doing interviews for Greek life. I know that when I rushed, it was always the first thing I talked about. And when I am doing rush for my chapter now, whenever someone studied abroad, it's always the first thing that comes up and it always sparks a great conversation. So it can actually really help you out in the rush process.
Awesome. And then adding to that and being involved on main campus, how were you guys able to be involved at your study abroad locations? Were you guys able to join local groups or do sports activities or join organizations? Or what was that like getting involved over at your study abroad location?
Yeah, so I feel like I've mentioned it too many times, but I'm a big soccer fan. So every Tuesday we would do Soccer Tuesday. And quite literally I would play against our study center director, Ignacio. And that's always a fun time because he takes it very seriously, soccer over there, to the point where it's so much fun. And so what they do is our PAs, which are known as program assistants, those are usually students who have previously studied abroad and they come back and help be another form of support for students who are going abroad at that time. And so they would come coordinate different activities with us. We would join group chats with each other in our study center with our own program. And so we would talk about what activities are going on, whether that's in Valencia or within the FSU community as well. And so every day there's usually an activity, whether it's a walking tour or going to try churros, or you want to go to a fitness group and, you know, go work out and do yoga together for a little bit. So kind of varies, but the group chats that you will get put into are very, very helpful to keep you immersed and keep you active. So you're not just staying in your apartment. And then also, funny enough, the restaurants and the cafes and the little stores that you become almost a regular at, the owners love FSU students. They take a lot of pride in FSU students. And so actually a lot of them will tell you what's going on in the city from, you know, a local's perspective as well.
Yeah, Paige pretty much covered it all. I don't have much to add. There are so many ways to get involved when studying abroad. Like she mentioned, when you start visiting these places regularly, you'll notice that they really do love the FSU students. There's so many restaurants and places around Valencia where there's going to be FSU flags hanging from the wall and different Seminole stuff all over. And you really see that we really do have a place in that city.
Awesome. So some things I see a lot of questions about just logistics, application process, and everything related to that. So like I was saying earlier, our applications are already open, that you must be admitted at least for the fall or summer semester or through the Seminole Pathways program in order to apply for a first year, first semester abroad program. Now, if you apply and just go straight to main campus, you can always then apply to our other programs that we have to offer here as well, whether it's for a fall, a spring break, or a summer, like I was saying earlier. Our applications are on our website. So when you go to our website, international.fsu.edu, and you go to first year/semester and then pick the location you're interested in, it's going to open up a program page that has a lot of great information, including the dates, including prices, and also it includes everything that you're expected to experience while there, as well as everything that you are expected to, everything that is included in that program fee, including the academic fees, housing, the excursions are included, international health insurance, and a lot more. So I recommend when you go onto our website, just scroll down on the description page and just see everything that is and is not included in there. And then with that, our applications will stay open until they are filled up. So if you get accepted on the 15th and you decide to wait a little bit, I just recommend looking back and seeing if our applications are open. We do tell students apply as soon as possible, just because it's on a first come, first served basis. And I would like to highlight that applying for the first year or first semester abroad program does not mean you're committing to it. So if you apply and then put your name in and then get accepted, you have until May 1st to put in a commitment fee, in which then that's when you are committed for the program. So, and that'll be for both the first year and first semester of abroad program. Paige, we have some questions asking about the apartments and then slash the flats and what are they equipped with? What do they have? Are they cleaned by the people? Can you tell us about housing and what that looked like for you studying abroad?
Yeah. So, kind of what it looked like is I lived with one other girl in a bedroom, average 3 to 5 or 2 to 5 bedrooms per apartment. The more bedrooms there are, you could live in like a 2-story apartment, so it may not just be one floor. The kitchen was fully stocked, and the way that my roommates and I decided to cook meals is we would all buy groceries together and then we would cook meals together and just split the price. So it saved us a lot of money in the long run. And then once a week, you do get cleaning services. And so you get very accustomed to that when you don't get that when you're back here and you're stuck cleaning everything by yourself. So you really, really do get to enjoy that. You also share a washer and dryer. Either you get your own in your own apartment, or you have to share either just a dryer with 2 other apartments. But it's significantly more convenient compared to a dorm where you're competing with probably closer to like 100 students just to wash and dry your clothes. So that's really nice. As for the living room, it came with actually a very large TV. So I was very excited for that. Where we got to stream Netflix or Disney Plus if we wanted to, and watch whatever we wanted. And then it had great couches that were really comfortable, really nice to take naps on as well, during the day. So that's kind of what it looked like. And then as for the bathroom, either you get your own or you and your roommate and maybe one other person, depending on how many like apartment mates you have, will share a bathroom. But usually there's 2 to 3, I would say, bathrooms per apartment. So that's really, really nice.
Awesome, thanks.
Mhm.
I'm seeing questions about people asking about, numbers and how many students go to these different locations. So with our first year program, we take up to 300 students to study abroad at our 4 study center locations. We see a majority of our students go to our European locations at London, Florence, and Valencia. But in our Panama location, even though there's a small amount of students who go and study abroad with international programs, that is actually a campus that we have in Panama City, Republic of Panama. So students, like I said earlier, are interacting with international students who are getting their 2-year or 4-year degree. So that is a great experience for students who go to Panama, as well as, again, the students who also go to our study centers in London, Valencia, and Florence. And then overall, our students who are going for their first year or first semester, they're also interacting with students who are either there or upper class students who are just there for a semester or just there for a summer session, whether it's for a 4-week, 6-week, 12-week. So that number at each study center is a little bit higher just because of students interacting with other students, not just incoming first year students, whether again, for the first semester or first year abroad. And then some questions are asking about what was it like as far as feeling safe within the country? So I'll ask Paige to answer that, but also I'll say, from my experience and here at International Programs, we equip students even before they get to their location with multiple forms of orientation, whether it's through a campus site, whether it's through in-person orientation, whether it is through a social that we do for our non-first year program students. And then we also have orientation virtually with our staff at our study center location to equip students of what to expect before, while they're packing, what to expect when they get to immigration, what to expect when they're at the airport, how to get to the study center. And then we also have a program packet that also details that, and we send many notifications. So again, we are walking you through the process, as well as when you get there, you may be tired after a long plane ride, but we right off the bat, make sure you're not messing up your sleep schedule, and we start with orientations. So making sure that you know the rules and safeties for the study center, for your surrounding area, interacting with the locals. Also, we incorporate a tour of the city, so you're not just having to figure it out on your own. You're with our study center staff, our program assistants, our faculty, interacting with the city that you're in and hearing from them on how to interact with it as well. And we're always harping on the buddy system, so making sure you are in groups or with someone when you're interacting with the city and doing your self-exploration. And Paige, I don't know if you wanted to add on anything in regards to safety from your experience.
Yeah. So something that I probably can't talk enough about is how safe you actually feel before you even step foot on the plane. I was very, very impressed with how much international programs communicates, and my dad will always say he prefers someone to over communicate rather than under communicate. And here at IP, we definitely like to do that to make sure every student feels as prepared as possible. Something that I really enjoyed is when I got to Valencia, on my first day, I just arrived and was able to fall asleep, but then the next day was orientation. And so they had us put in all of our study center contacts, all their phone numbers in our phones. So if we ever felt uncomfortable at a minimum, we could just text them or call them, and then they would always be able to help us. There was always an FSU faculty member on call throughout the night when I went abroad. And so no matter at what time it was at night, whether it was 8 p.m. or somehow 5 o'clock in the morning, someone was always able to talk and help me out if I ever needed help. And then I always had a buddy with me. Just it doesn't hurt. And so it's always good to have someone else. And then for me personally, in my own study center building, I was given another FSU ID when I got there. And essentially this was like a swipe card. And so it allowed me to get into the building. I had to swipe a card anytime I wanted to go into a classroom and the door was closed, into any hallway door, even my apartment door and my specific bedroom. And my FSU key only worked for my bedroom. It didn't work for someone else's bedroom. It didn't work for anybody else's apartment except mine. So I felt safe at all times knowing nobody could go into my room if they tried. Nobody could go into my apartment unless an apartment mate was with them and we knew about it. So it was very good. And then I also had, at my time, I had 24/7 security. So there was always someone pretty much right when you enter. If I ever had food delivered, they would always help get it. They would text me if my food was here, or if I just had general questions or anything, there was always somebody right then and there to help me out.
Awesome. Thank you, Paige.
Mhm.
So I see a question here asking about, breaks for study abroad. Do students get to go home during time? And if so, when international programs provide flights. So like I said earlier, there are those breaks in there where students can decide to come home. Winter break is the most popular, but there's also a fall break and spring break where students can decide to come home if they do so, or do self-travel, which most students do. In regards for flights, all flights are not included in the program fees, whether it's the flight there or if they do any flights back, either between the program time or at the end of the program time. Flights are just the things that every person has a preference on how to fly, when to fly, whether direct, layovers, whatever it may be. So those are not included in the program fees. Now, at least going to the study center, we do provide what is an airfare notification, which is just information on what to expect when you get there, information to know when booking a flight. So again, we help you through the process and providing you information through for flights as you are going through booking. Let me see what you see here. So something's asking, what is the acceptance of the FYA program based on? So the acceptance of the FYA is not merit-based. It's, like I said, on a first come, first served basis. You guys did the hard part. If you have gone into FSU for the fall, summer, or Seminole Pathways, that is the difficult part. So if you get accepted for fall, summer, or the Seminole Pathways program, then going through our applications, a 5 to 8 minute application, just asking you again, where do you want to study abroad? Asking questions about you, emergency contacts. And like I said, that turnaround is pretty quick. Like I said in the presentation, where it takes us about 4 to 5 business days for us to reach back out to you, whether it's to let you know that we need more information from you, or whether it's to let you know that you've been accepted for the program. So definitely there is no essay questions of that sort when doing the application. Let me see what other questions I see. If I can get one more in. Would you say that this is a program that has the opportunity to be very independent, but there are student resources and strong presence of the FSU community abroad? Of course, yes. So I think one of the great things of having a study center there or a campus there is that FSU presence, whether it's staff, faculty, program assistants, are there to support the students throughout that. And also we let the students know that they have resources even here at main campus, while at the same time we know that students are wanting to be independent and explore. So we make sure to highlight that and allow students to have that freedom, but also always encouraging them to come to us here at International Programs or through any resources at FSU if they do need anything. So I can see this, that the time is 7 o'clock. I see some questions coming in. If you do have questions that you would like answered, again, feel free to scan that QR code. There are a lot of great resources, whether it's through our social media, our website, or other great information we have provided there. Or if you'd like to email us at ip-firstyear@fsu.edu, we'll love to answer any questions that you have. Again, I want to thank you guys for all joining us. And again, I hope that when the decisions come out, that you remember about international programs and all the study abroad opportunities we have to offer. Once again, thank you, and I hope you all have a great night.